Hi, Jonathan from Live Life Coach. Are you or someone you know feeling stuck, searching for direction, or wanting a clearer sense of what's next? You're welcome to connect with me. Whether you're exploring practical next steps or seeking God's leading, I'm always open to a genuine, no pressure conversation. Welcome back. Today I want to tackle a bit of a thought that goes through my mind, and something that for myself, I've actually worked through a lot over the years, because for myself, I've been working in a self-employed position for the last 20 years. I started out in 2006 and been self-employed. I've been working through varying degrees of economies and ups and downs of business, and things going good, things not going so good, and just all those sorts of things. But the one thing that I really found through business is that it can be lonely, and that can be difficult. Sometimes your family, your partner don't understand what you're going through. You can talk to other business owners or other business people, but they've got their own problems. They struggle to sometimes see what you're going through, or they just say, I just got to harden up, or get on with this, or do that, or whatever. And it can be difficult to walk through, and that's one of the reasons why I got into coaching. Was as I looked at it, as a small business owner myself, I looked at it and went, man, what is a big thing that I struggled with? And one of the big things that I struggled with was loneliness. Just feeling like you're alone. It's not that there's nobody there, that nobody's you don't have any friends or anything. It's more that you're struggling along on your own. You can't thrash out these ideas or these thoughts that you've got and be able to work through them and process them in a different way. You've just sort of got to internally process it, or you've just got to hold it in and work through it, and that can make you a bit grumpy, or it can make you feel like you're getting nowhere or nothing's happening. And so it can be quite difficult. And that was one of the things that as I've gone into life coaching was I looked at it and went, hey, what can I offer other people who are in a similar position to me? What can I present that will help them to further themselves, to be able to feel like they're not lonely, feel like they're not on their own in all of this? Because even when you've got staff, you could have 2 staff, you could have 20 staff, you could have 100 staff. Those staff members don't understand the pressures of owning a business. I call anyone who's working for themselves, paying their taxes, doing the invoicing, doing everything that they've got to do, a small business owner. There is a difference when you've got staff. I know that to me is it's another step. But everybody really, at the end of the day, I think, is who are working for themselves, whether they've got staff or not, they're running a business. They're running a place where they're working away. The responsibility lands on them. They're the ones that if something goes wrong, they've got to sort it out. It's their problem. And ideally, New Zealand's made up of, I think, around about 75-80% of New Zealand's small businesses are 1-2 man bands. We're not a nation of large corporate business. We're a nation of small, very small businesses. When you look at that, you can probably fair to say that there are a number of people out there who are struggling with loneliness, that are just trying to push through, trying to figure things out, make things happen. And these business coaches. Business coaches are great. They can come in, they can help you, and they can be a kind of a light and a support with helping you work out your business, help you grow your business and make things happen there, and help you understand how certain aspects work. And if you don't get your finances, well, let's work through your finances. If you don't get marketing, well, let's work through that. And they can be great. Business coaches can be good, but depending on the business coach, they may not be so interested in helping with life, because particularly when you're a one-man band, you're working on your own, or even if you've got 1 or 2 staff, life is a big part of your business. There's a lot going on, and you're sitting there and you're working through all of this stuff, and you look at it and it's life and business is one. your life kind of revolves around business, or your business revolves around your life. You know, it's there. It's a big part of things, and sometimes, you know, you need to just have somebody that can listen, that can help you form decisions and help you to understand things. Why are you doing certain things? What is going on in your head? What are you working through? Where should you be heading? And that was one thing that I found. You know, I've had business coaches over the years, and what I appreciated their advice and their thoughts and the direction they helped me go in. I just found sometimes, you know, I really needed somebody outside of business focus, but somebody who understood business, understood what I was going through in that market, but could actually step back and not focus on the business aspects, not focus on the marketing or focus on the advertising or the accounts or staff issues or anything like that, but been able to just talk with me about where my head was at. What was it? Because I think a lot of those things, when you're struggling with marketing or whatever, what is it that's holding you back? And that's one thing that wasn't until really really late in my business years, so sort of 17, 18 years into business, I actually went, you know what? No wonder I don't do marketing stuff much. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the background stuff you've got to do for marketing. I'm not an ideas guy. I'm not big. I've not got fresh ideas just flowing at me out of all the time and thinking, oh, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, and I'll just jump up and go like this. I'm not like these people who just, let's film this and I'll chuck that up on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. I've got to be purposeful about that sort of thing. But that's where, when I got into life coaching, changed a little bit for me, because I think partly too, when I was in the technology industry, the technology, while it was good, it wasn't really my passion. And because it wasn't my passion, it left me going, I've got to come up with something. I do a fortnightly newsletter. And every time I'd get asked, hey, I need the newsletter, because somebody who looks after that and just tidies it up, sends it out, and be like, I don't know what idea to think about. But as if you've been through a few of these videos, you'll see I have no problem talking about coaching, because it's a passion for me. It's something that I'm interested in. A big part of that is personality. What is the personality? And that's what I'm finding with understanding my own personality, that, hey, I'm, the way I communicate, I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories. I like to share information in a story format. It doesn't have a lot of detail. I'm not going to bullet point things out. I'm not going to go, hey, this is everything that you need to do, bang, 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 bang. I'm just going to go, oh, hey, look, this, that, this, So there's a bit of an example that I give. My wife is more detail orientated, and so there'd be something like I'd be chatting with friends or whatever, and they say, hey, why don't you come around for dinner on Friday night? Yeah, great, sounds good. That's cool. I'll run it past my wife, and that'd be sweet. I'm sure we can be there. I'll go home and talk to my wife, and she'd be like, so what time are we going? What do we need to take? Who's going to be there? What's this? What's that? What's this? And I'm like, I don't know. We're just going for dinner. It's fine. We'll just tune up. But, that's how my mind works. That's part of my personality. It's not part of my wife's personality. She likes to plan it out. She likes to understand, where we're going, what we're doing, what time, who's going to be there, what food we're going to be eating. Do they know this? Do they know that? And so, knowing those things really helps with, knowing where it can go, what it can do, how I do things, why I do things. And this will say, when you understand those sorts of things, you can start to really work through stuff. And one thing I'm finding with the coaching is that, I'm looking to build a team, because, as I say, I found that, it can be quite lonely when you're working on your own. Even if you've got staff, you're still technically working on your own. And so building a team that has like-mindedness, who understand what you're going through and what you're working through, and working with groups. I'm really keen to get some groups going to be able to work through things. Whether it's business focus or life focus. But looking at life and business together, not just looking at business and what is business applications we can do here, but it's about life. Where is life going? What is it doing? How's the business working in with the life? And what are we doing there? What are the hold-ups? What are the things that are not really working the way you want them to? Why is it that doing this thing or doing that thing bugs you? And when you can look at your personality, understand what you're actually interested in, what works for you, then you can really find ways around that stuff that doesn't interest you. And sometimes there is a money restriction. It's hard to outsource everything, but often you can find people who can give you assistance and help on the side. Don't need to do it as an ongoing thing. But there'll be areas that you can find things, and there's a lot of stuff that can be automated now. And so finding those things, setting those up, and getting through those. But sometimes you just don't know that sort of stuff, and so having people around you who can encourage you and help you can really, really benefit you there. And that's where for me life coaching comes in. Is that I look at it as it's a sounding board. You can come in, you can talk about anything and everything, and you can work through what's going on, figure it all out, and you can start to put things together. You've got somebody who gets you, who's not going to judge you, who's not going to go, you can't do that, you can't do this. It's just going to be a sounding board. If you come up with a crazy idea, okay, that's cool. How are you going to how do you think you're going to achieve that? What are the steps you need to take for that? What is the overall outcome going to be for you? All these sorts of things that you can work through that you may not have thought of, and you start thinking differently about it. It helps you to work through that process. When we speak out the things that we're thinking, it really gives us some guidance and some help. And often we know the answers, but we're just not willing to listen to ourselves. But when we talk to somebody else and they present it back, they help you work through those things, you actually see what's holding you back, or why you're not moving forward with it, or hey, actually that's not what I was wanting or where I was expecting I was going to go. So I'm going to change tact. And all those sorts of things. And that's, for me, what coaching is about, is that somebody to talk to, somebody who understands. And if you're a small business owner, I get it. I get where the struggles are. I've been there for 20 years. I've been working through the highs, the lows, the ins, the outs, all those struggles that we all go through. I get it. I've been, and I want to be there to help you to win, help you, to work through the things that aren't going so well, but help you to get on top of them and to move forward, to be that person that you can come to and have a conversation, work through things, be able to do things without judgment. There is no judgment around what you want to do. It's just around understanding for you, is that the right thing? Because that's what you need to do. And sometimes you need to process and work through things with others in mind, but sometimes you need to be able to do it first in your own mind. Then you can bring something that's tangible to other people. You can bring an idea that works, that they can then understand, rather than just a whole lot of different ideas. If you're like me, I can be a verbal thinker. In other words, I speak out the things that I'm thinking about, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to do it. I can be talking about something, and my wife can get a bit frustrated. Oh no, we can't do that. We can't do this. And it's like, well, actually, I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm just throwing this idea out there and sounding it off, hitting it around, playing with it. So I can see whether or not it is actually something that could be done, or whatever, or what is that thought, and is that thought good? Is it going to stick? Is it not? And all these sorts of things. And so, that's where I say, for me, having a life coach, can just go and just dump out all the things that I'm thinking and go, this is what's going through my head. If I tell this to my wife, she's going to stress out. If I tell it to you, you don't care. You're not worried. It's not going to stress you out. but you're going to help me work through it. You're going to help me understand it and be able to change tact, be able to think it through, work through it, and really be able to see it. Because it's funny how talking to somebody makes the difference. You can try and talk to yourself, you can try and thrash it out in your own head. The problem is you keep going round and round in circles. You keep finding all the reasons why not, finding all the reasons that it's not going to work, and why so-and-so is not going to like it, and why this person will think that. But when you thrash it out with somebody else who isn't biased, isn't going to tell you, that's rubbish, you can't do that, or anything like that, you actually get a totally different perspective, and you get a different way of thinking and a different way of moving forward, or a different way of looking at it and saying, hey, that's not for me, or that is for me, here's a new angle that I'm going to go with it, or whatever it is. So if you got things that you're stuck on, you're feeling a bit frustrated about things, you're not sure where to go, you need somebody to thrash things out with, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to have that conversation, to talk about things, to work through it with you, and really bring some perspective that can hopefully help you grow and develop. And as I say, we can work through your personality and understanding how you think, how you work, how you do the things you do, and find those strengths that really help you to grow and to do better in the things that you're going to do. Because when you're working in your strengths, you're really going to get some joy and you're really going to excel. So I hope you found that helpful, and I look forward to hopefully catching up with you, chatting, and seeing where we can work together, and bringing you into a new chapter in your life, and really helping you move forward and get some direction, clarity, and purpose in your life to really make a difference. I hope you've enjoyed that.